What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Playbook Sports Podcast. It is time to jump back in to mock draft season, baby. Now that my team is officially eliminated, those of you who don't know, Miami Dolphins fan, probably could have started doing these even more a while ago. I've got a few mocks on the channel, but obviously things will change, and things have changed. The draft order will continue to change over these next several weeks. You guys can see on your screen right now, I've got pulled up the PFF Mock Draft Simulator. I'm going no trades today. Now, will there be trades? Yes, of course there will be. There are always trades. But I'll just kind of rationalize through maybe why this team doesn't trade out of this spot, right? So let's go ahead and jump right into this one. On the board at pick number 1, as it stands today, is the New York Giants, a team that doesn't need a QB. I think you can safely say Jackson Dart has shown you plenty enough this year to say, yeah, we're good. We do not need to take one of those top quarterbacks. So then you move into, okay, are we going best player available here? Are we going with a position of need? I'd argue you just go best player available with the first overall pick, especially if you're not going to move off of it. I think the best player in this draft is probably Arvell Reese. I would say, you could think maybe Jeremiah Love pound for pound is awesome, which he is, but you're not going to do that when you've got Cam Scadaboo coming off of injury. You're good there. Do you go wide receiver here, and do you maybe reach a little bit on a Jordan Tyson and just pray to God that he can stay healthy? Because if he can, he's wide receiver 1 in this class. He's awesome. Great size for the position. His routes are clean. I think he's the best pure separator in this class, and he's got size. He's got speed. He's going to be awesome. But do you take a chance on that at number 1? I don't think you do. I don't think you can. So then you think, okay, they obviously aren't going edge rusher, so that will clear off Ruben Bain. For this pick, I'm going to have them take Arvell Reese. All of that to say, I'm going to have them take Arvell Reese, but he's not going to be an edge rusher for me. He's going to be off-ball linebacker. He's going to be a defensive captain for you in New York, and I just think he's the best overall talent in this class. Maybe you're a Caleb Downs person. I'm not going to get that crazy and say a safety is going to go number 1. That's just not ever going to happen. It just doesn't happen. So we'll go Arvell Reese at pick number 1 to the New York Giants. Maybe they don't get the offer they want. Maybe teams are lowballing them and they're like, you know what? We got 2 minutes on the clock. Let's just go best player available and figure it out. It's never a problem to have too much talent on defense, in my opinion. But Vegas Raiders on the clock here. Pretty ecstatic that neither quarterback goes at pick number 1. And I don't think they're going to move up to number 1. Why? So someone doesn't jump you? I think you can be comfortable with both these quarterbacks right here, rank 5 and rank 6. Now, this is assuming Dante Moore does come out of college and makes himself eligible to be drafted in this draft. Assuming he does, and I know Fernando Mendoza just won the Heisman, I'm a big Dante Moore guy. You guys go watch one of my earlier mocks. I said it. I think he's my quarterback 1 right now. Just watching him and going forward, I do think Fernando Mendoza is kind of that more traditional pocket passing quarterback. Athletic. He's plenty athletic, but he reminds me more of a Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff mold, and maybe I'm typecasting that a little bit. I don't know. But with Vegas' issues on the offensive line, I need a mobile guy. I need somebody that can escape the pressure. That's Dante Moore, and I love what Dante Moore does. Go watch some of his game film if you're not a big fan. He's going to be awesome. Yeah, it's limited sample size. I don't care. He's got the arm. He's got the accuracy. He's got poise in the pocket. The kid's a stud, and he's going to be a stud. Next up, Tennessee Titans here. Kind of another tough spot, but I'm going to go with Ruben Bain, Jr., defensive end out of Miami. I know he started off so hot this year, putting up crazy numbers, and then he really plateaued. It's just because he got double teamed all the time. And teams were like, yeah, we're just going to make sure he doesn't beat us and cause problems. He's still an awesome edge rusher. I am a little concerned about the arm length. It's not going to measure out elite, but it's also not going to be a huge problem. And he's a big fella, too. He's probably pushing 260, 270. He's more of a traditional 4-3 edge. I'm not entirely sure what defense the Titans are going to run because I don't know who their head coach is going to be yet. Nobody knows. So if they run a 3-4, are you going to have him put on just maybe a little bit more weight and have him play a 3-4 end as opposed to a 3-4 off-ball edge rusher? That's to be determined. We'll see what the coaching staff wants to do, but I think Ruben Bain's capable of doing it. Cleveland on the clock here, and it's not a quarterback. I think you're going to I'm trying to predict what I think is going to happen here. I don't think they take a QB at pick 4 here. I think it's more likely Stefanski gets fired and you find a coach that likes Shedeur. I don't think Stefanski likes Shedeur Sanders. I just don't think that that's his guy. He never wanted it to be his guy, and now Shedeur's played, and he's looked good at times. He also just threw 3 interceptions against the Bears and looked horrible. So he's a rookie for a reason. He needs time to grow, and I had him in the first round of mock drafts last year. I thought he was a first-round talent That's all I have to say about that. But I think he's shown enough to where you don't necessarily need to replace him. You really don't. So I think you don't take Fernando Mendoza here. You pass on him, and you look down the board a little bit at what else you need. And what you really could use is a wide receiver. Now, do you go Jordan Tyson or do you go Carnell Tate? That's what the debate will come down to. Carnell Tate doesn't have the injury concerns. He's been awesome at Ohio State, who just produces all-star wide receivers, by the way. He's actually, according to PFF, an inch taller than Jordan Tyson, too. Healthy, good route runner, good speed, can take the top off of a defense. Really good wide receiver to pair up. Give Shedeur a good weapon going forward. I'm going to go Carnell Tate out of Ohio State. I'm curious to know what you guys think, you draft heads out there who have been watching these guys. Who do you like more, Jordan Tyson with his injury concerns or Carnell Tate? I'm curious to know who your wide receiver one is. Jets on the clock here, and this worked out perfectly for them. You get to keep all of your picks, and you get Fernando Mendoza, who I really believe is going to be good. And the Jets have a good offensive line. They've got talent at all 5 positions. You've got your bookend tackles in Olu Fashanu and Armand Membu, 2 of my favorite tackles from the last 2 classes. Mendoza will be protected. You've got tons of other picks. You've got another one in this first round where you can address wide receiver and get him some weapons. But you're good on the offensive line. You don't have a quarterback, New York. And yeah, the defense needs some work. That's what Aaron Glenn was brought there to do. You need a quarterback. And Mendoza in this scenario falls right into your laps at pick number 5. Great pick for them. I hate it. Arizona on the clock here, and I don't know if this one will be much of a surprise or not, but guys, they don't have anybody running the football. You can't rely on James Conner going forward. Trey Benson has had some exciting times, sure, but he's been injured most of this season when he finally was given a chance. Why not Jeremiah Love? Running backs are going early. We just had one go at this pick a year ago. Now, do the Raiders maybe wish they'd taken an offensive lineman like Armand Membu? Maybe they do. Maybe they do. Arizona's got a good left tackle. They need a good right tackle also. I'm kind of talking myself out of Jeremiah Love just a little bit. I'm going to give them, let me find him. I like Spencer Fano for them. I'm still going through the tape. Whenever we do, if you guys are into the draft content, we like to talk about position groups. All of us get different position groups, and I always go with offensive line. I don't know who tackle 1 is yet. I'm still working through that. I think it's Fano, but I think Maui Noah has a chance to be awesome too. So do with that what you will. But we'll go with Spencer Fano there. Saints on the board here at pick number 7. I'm going to have them, wide receiver, Jordan Tyson's looking right at you. Chris Olave's hurt. You just dealt Rashid Shaheed. I think you take a gamble on Jordan Tyson. And you say, Tyler Shucks looks pretty good. He's had flashes. He's looked solid. Now, he is already 45 years old, but that's okay. We've got him for a couple more years before he goes and starts collecting Social Security. So let's maximize that and get him some weapons. We've got some good offensive linemen. You could go maybe on the D line, I could see, but I like them taking a wide receiver here, especially one as talented as Jordan Tyson. Washington on the clock here, and it's going to be defense. And I'm just going to give them the Swiss Army knife Caleb Downs because their defense is old. It plays bad. You've got to do something on that side of the ball. Washington needs help at several places. I'm just going to give them one of the best, if not the best players in this class. There's only so many blue chip prospects in this draft. It's not very top heavy. It's got good depth, but it's just not very star-studded at the top. Caleb Downs is one of those few stars in this class. Cincinnati on the clock here at pick number 9. I've still got to go defense. I know you probably want either offensive line to protect Joe Burrow. You've got to do something on that defense still. And you could argue maybe a linebacker like a Sonny Styles, who I'm a big fan of. You could argue a Peter Woods here. You could argue even David Bailey off the edge. And that's where I'm going to go, is David Bailey off the edge. Bengals fans, those of you watching, I'm curious to know who you'd take in this scenario. But I like David Bailey as an edge rusher. I think he's a very good edge rusher. He's got good length, really good size. Obviously, he's graded out fantastic for Texas Tech this year with 14 sacks. The guy's a stud. The guy's an absolute stud. Him and Ruben Bain are edge 1 and edge 1B, in my opinion, for this class. Rams on the clock here at pick number 10, courtesy of the Falcons. Where do they go? They need a right tackle. They need a corner. Do they just go get a ball-hawking corner? Do they go get someone like a Mansour Delane? I've seen him this high several times. He's obviously been locked down this year for LSU. I have personal concerns about his arm length. I think he's going to come in with very short arms, concerningly short arms. but he has played great, and clearly his baby T-Rex arms haven't affected him in college. And I tend to lean on the draft players that are good at football, don't just always draft traits, right? Mansour Delane has been excellent. The Rams are getting blessed by having the 10th pick right now. That could end up being even better going forward. I think they take someone like a Mansour Delane. I think they go that route. I think he's the safer pick between him and Jermod McCoy because you don't know what you're getting in Jermod McCoy. You just don't know yet. So we'll go with Mansour Delane there at pick number 10, and the rich get richer. Chiefs, come on. I mean, come on. What do they need? Desperately. A few things, actually. Chiefs, I've got concerns going forward. I've got concerns. I know you have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, so how concerned can you really be? But I've got some concerns. It's got to be Jeremiah Love if he's there and if the Chiefs are picking here. Go get the star running back, please. You have no running game to speak of. That has been a huge issue all season long. No running game to scare teams. So I don't care how fast Xavier Worthy is. You never get the defense out of too high. You never get them out of shell coverages because they don't have to worry about you running on them because you don't have a good running back. Go get a good running back, please. Jeremiah Love, pick 11. Minnesota on the clock, absolutely devastated by that pick for sure here. And this pick really hurts me because I think that if it falls like this and them picking at 12 and Miami at 13, I think they take the guy I would want, which is Jermod McCoy out of Tennessee. I could absolutely see them doing it, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm not drafting this trying to set up the Dolphins to get the best player. That's silly. It's a mock draft. If Jermod McCoy is there, I think that if he played this year, he'd be consensus corner one. He was awesome last year. His 2024 tape you can put up there with any recent rookie corners or college prospect corners. I think he is excellent, and as long as his medicals check out, which he tore his ACL in January, almost a full year ago. So by the time the combine rolls around, he'll have been a full year out from ACL surgery. I think he'll be all the way back, and people are going to be like, oh, yeah, this is a top 10 player in this class. He's the best corner in the class, in my opinion. Miami on the clock here, absolutely sick with how this has fallen. You don't get either of the top two corners. You don't get either of the top two wide receivers. You can go with a right guard, and I do think Francis Mauigoa out of Miami makes some sense here. I think that would be a strong pick. Do I think that they do that? Honestly, I don't. I don't think that they do that. I don't know what the future holds for this team. I don't know what they're going to do. I know people want Kenyon Sadiq. I'm not taking Kenyon Sadiq for Miami. I just don't see them doing that, especially if Mike McDaniel's still there. He makes it work with guys like Greg Dulcich, who's looked good for us, by the way. He's not going to use a first-round pick on a tight end. That just doesn't make sense for them. If Tyreek Hill's gone, someone like Mekhi Lemon makes a ton of sense here. Just another fast receiver. That's what they love to do. They just go speed, speed, speed. I'd like to think they're different, though. I'd like to think that maybe there's a changing of the guard happening, and we've gotten rid of Chris Greer, and now we have an actual GM in the building who knows we win with the trenches, and maybe they do a little overcorrection, and they're like, we're just going to hammer the trenches like they did last year's draft on the defensive side, and we're going to take Francis Mauigoa, offensive lineman, and I'm planning to start him at right guard right away. Then you've got your line set going into next year, and they're all young, and you can bank on that, and you can build a wall in front of whoever the hell the quarterback is going to be. You have to build the trenches up. We've seen what happens when you don't for Tua. It didn't work, and now he's been benched. Dallas on the clock here at pick number 14, and I think they're pretty happy with how it's fallen because there's two guys really that I'd consider for them at this spot, Keldrick Falk or Cassius Howell. It depends on what you want. I think Cassius Howell is more of a Donovan Ezuraku type, and you already have that. Keldrick Falk is more of that big presence, man. You put him in there next to Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark, and you've got him coming in. I like Keldrick Falk in this spot a lot. I think he makes a ton of sense. I think they keep George Pickens, so I wouldn't go with a wide receiver like Mekhi Lemon here. And I'm going to go ahead and give them Keldrick Falk and say, there we go. We've got him. We've got Ezuraku on the edge, too. We've got our speed rusher, and we've got a three-down player in Keldrick Falk, who I think is going to be drafted way higher than some people think. I really believe he's going to be great. Baltimore on the clock here, and they get blessed. And I don't really know how this happened. I'm just making picks for every team based on how the board falls. And Matabike may never play football again. It's really sounding like he might just retire. Peter Woods, to go ahead and step right into that role, and thank you very much. You just get a guy who is pretty consensus top 3 player in this draft coming into the year. Now, everyone on Clemson's rosters had a down year, so hard to really hold that against him. But you're getting a player whose talent level is top 5 in this class, and because he's had a down year and teams don't really have that positional need for it, looking up, there's just not a ton of it. You could argue maybe the Bengals or maybe, I don't know, maybe the Saints would pull the trigger on someone like him. Jets won't, I don't think. I don't know. He could fall unfairly, and it'd be a mistake to let the Ravens get him like they got Malachi Starks last year, but that's what happens for the Ravens. So Peter Woods at pick 15. Moving into Carolina here to wrap up the first half of this mock draft, and this one's pretty easy for me too, just looking at how the board once again has fallen. Sonny Styles, I'm a big Sonny Styles fan. I think he's going to be awesome. I love the safety background, the speed background that he has. He does it all. Pass rushing. He's good against the run. He's good in coverage. The dude is just a very solid linebacker. He can play all over the place for you. Great size for the position. Great athlete. Carolina just adds a chess piece to that defense that they continue to need as they try and get a hold of the NFC South. Man, that might be their division for this year and maybe even the next couple of years. Who knows? Detroit on the clock here. Need some help on the defensive side of the ball and some help on the offensive side of the ball. They have not been doing nearly as well running the ball and just being this physical team that we're used to seeing them be. Well, there might be an answer for that. I'm going to go ahead and give them Caden Proctor, offensive lineman out of Alabama. Now, are they going to play him at tackle or guard? I don't know. They'll figure it out because that's what they do. Maybe it's a position that you feel that they don't need. Lions fans, do you guys want a corner in this spot? Do you want a defensive lineman like a Caleb Banks, who I think is better than his grades have shown? Obviously, he only played 3 games this year. He's just a massive human being. He's a true nose tackle. Maybe you need that, Detroit. Lions fans, let me know in the comments what you guys need on the defensive side of the ball going forward. Jets back on the clock here after getting Mendoza to fall into their lap with pick number 5. You get Makai Lemon to fall into your lap with pick number 18, and I am sick. This would be a perfect draft scenario for the New York Jets. They don't move up to 1. They get Mendoza to fall to them at 5. They don't move from 18. They just sit right there, and they get one of the top 3 receivers in the class in Makai Lemon to just fall into their lap at pick 18. This is the perfect draft for Jets fans, and that's like the last thing I want to ever do. That makes me ill. Buccaneers on the clock here at pick number 19, needing some help on the defensive side of the ball and on the offensive side of the ball here. Would this be a Kenyon Sadiq spot? I could see it being a Kenyon Sadiq spot. They need a tight end, man. Cade Otton has been hurt and not nearly as effective as he once was. All of their receivers have been injured this year to some degree. And I'm not going to take a swing on like a Denzel Boston here. I'm going to give him Kenyon Sadiq. I don't know. Well, let me know what you guys think about that fit. What do we guys think about that fit in Tampa Bay's offense? Kenyon Sadiq out there running alongside all their other weapons. They just have an embarrassment of riches on the offensive side of the ball. But it's hard to turn down a talent like Kenyon Sadiq, especially at pick number 19. I could see him doing it. Pittsburgh here at pick number 20. You really have to look at wide receiver. They really need a wide receiver, in my opinion. I know they've got tackle, DB, QB, wide receiver, all as listed needs. I'm going with a wide receiver here. They have a type that they like to draft. I just want to confirm size here. Under 6 feet tall is kind of their thing. They like small, shifty receivers. It's just what they do. Maybe they make a shift. Maybe they make a change, though, and they pull the shocker, and they're like, you know what? We've got a big guy on one side. What if we had another big guy on the other side? And you go with someone like a Denzel Boston. I could see him doing that. I don't see him going corner. They've got plenty of youth there. Man. I wonder what you all think for these picks here and who you guys think that the Steelers should take. I'm going to have them take Denzel Boston. I do think you need another receiver. Even DK Metcalf has flashed at times this year. He hasn't been that great. He just really hasn't been all that this year. So we'll go ahead and give him Denzel Boston. Eagles on the clock here. They just traded for Jalen Phillips, I know, but is he going to be there next year? You've got to decide if you're going to pay him. How much is he going to want, man? I don't know. He'll be a free agent. We'll see if they have the money to bring him back. They also need offensive line just desperately, and I'm going to give them Vega Ioane, and he's going to be a starting guard for you at one of your guard positions. Their offensive line has not been nearly as good as it has been in the past. Not to say it's been bad, just not anywhere near as good as it has been. And Vega Ioane is probably the best pure interior offensive lineman in this draft class. And I could totally see Philly making a move like this and saying, all right, let's get back to our roots, build this offensive line, and we'll go from there. Texans on the clock here at pick number 22. I'm still not entertaining anything other than offensive line. Probably needs to be an interior offensive lineman. Could see them going with someone like Jennings Dunker, who's similar size to someone like a Gray Zabel from last year, who, by the way, has been excellent. I really liked him in the draft process and thought that Seattle got a real steal in him. He was one of the picks I correctly predicted in the draft last year. I'm going to give them Jennings Dunker and just say, yeah, that defense is fine. No worries there. Let's build up the trenches a little bit, maybe get a running game going here, and protect C.J. Stroud. Dallas on the clock here at pick 23 after taking Keldrick Falk at 14. Do you double dip and go with a Cassius Howell? Maybe. I don't know. You go with a T.J. Parker at edge. Do you go offensive line? Could see them going with a linebacker like C.J. Allen. It'd be maybe a smidge early for him in my opinion, but I could see them doing something like that. I'm not going Caleb Banks. I don't think I want Cassius Howell. Again, he just fits like that Donovan Ezeraku size, and I think his arms are going to be a problem for teams. I think they're going to be concerned about his size. I don't know if I can get him in the first round based on that, and I know that's crazy because I always say production, and he has 12 sacks this year on an SEC football team. He's performing against SEC football teams like this. That's awesome. I just don't know where I see him fitting in. So maybe we go ahead and we just dip back into the defensive side of things and we go with linebacker C.J. Allen out of Georgia. Just get Georgia defenders. That's a recipe for success. Let's do that. Buffalo on the clock here. They need corner help very badly. I'm going to give them Avion Terrell out of Clemson, brother or related to A.J. Terrell. Not been as good this year as I would have liked, and he's not the biggest guy. And I know they drafted Maxwell Hairston last year. He's been okay. He hasn't been special or anything like that, but you still have a lot of needs in that cornerback room. I think Avion Terrell steps in probably as an early contributor, in my opinion. Bears on the clock here. Needs listed as D-line safety. Obviously, I think they're good on the offensive side of the ball. I don't think you really need to add anything over there. I do think you look defense here. Now, do you want someone to rush the passer? I know I haven't been talking him up a ton, but Cassius Howell has 12 sacks this year. You need to get a designated pass rusher in Chicago. I've been saying it the entire season. That is going to be one of the issues for them going forward is who do you look at on their defense and say, that guy's going to go get the quarterback for me? I don't know. I don't know who it is. Now, do you want someone like a T.J. Parker or a Romello Height? Or do you want someone like a Cassius Howell who's just going to be that pure speed rusher and you just hope he just gets around him? I can't do it. I can't take him. Guys, talk me into Cassius Howell because I'm out. I'm totally out on him right now. So now the question becomes Romello Height, who's been excellent for Texas Tech this year. Or do you go with a little more toolsy T.J. Parker, who was excellent last year, but again, Clemson just sort of struggled all year. We'll go ahead and give them T.J. Parker, edge rusher, out of Clemson, but I think it's a toss-up between those two guys. L.A. Chargers on the clock here. I'll give them Cassius Howell. I'll do that for them because they need edge rushers. I know Tuli Tuipulotu's been awesome this season. I still think you've got to get young on the defensive line, get some guys to get after the quarterback still. You could argue offensive line. I just don't know if I like the value on the interior here. You've got your tackles, but then you got to scroll, and I mean scroll until you find the next guy that you could even realistically kick into the inside, and I mean, I'm just not seeing it. That's a problem. And we go into guards here, interior offensive linemen, and yeah, yikes. I mean, Connor Lew, Jake Slaughter, two good centers. Yeah, maybe they go center, but golly, is that a reach? You can get those guys in the second round. So we'll just go Cassius Howell and get an edge rusher that you probably can't get in the second round. San Francisco on the clock here, and the edge run continues, and I'm going to have them go with Romello Height. The 49ers have the fewest sacks in the NFL this season. They have fewer sacks than Myles Garrett has himself. That's a problem. I know you drafted Mykel Williams last year with the 11th pick, I believe it was. That was a horrible pick. And I will give, John Lynch has done a fantastic job as the general manager of the 49ers. That was a bad pick. That one was a bad pick, and that's okay. You can't hit a home run every time, right? Romello Height gives you a chance to kind of fix that a little bit, give you a true guy next to Nick Bosa that can actually get after the quarterback. And I know you're missing Nick Bosa this year, but still, when you only have, 16 sacks through 15 games, that's a problem. That's a real problem. Cleveland on the clock here at pick number 28, courtesy of Jacksonville. Earlier on, we had them take Carnell Tate, the wide receiver, and it screams that they need offensive help. And they already went wide receiver. Do you go with a tackle like a Caleb Lamu? Or do you go with just best player available and take someone like a Caleb Banks? I know his grade this year, not good. I don't care all that much, honestly. I just don't. He's an elite run defender. He's going to just plug up the middle of that defense, but you went Mason Graham last year. But do you still need to build that defensive tackle room up? Do you want someone like a Caden McDonald here, who's been really, really solid this year too? Very solid, similar size. I mean, kind of a toss-up here between those two. I think you could really argue for either one of them. I don't know about Caleb Lamu in the first round. I don't love it. Once you get through the first, 18 picks, it gets really hard to find the right player on the offensive side of the ball. It just does. It thins out quickly. Cleveland. What do we do here? In the interest of saving time, I'm going to give them Caleb Banks. Give them that force on the defensive line that I think that they do need, and kind of just roll with that. Patriots here on the clock. Offensive line help, edge, safety. I don't like LT Overton in the first round, not even a little bit. I mean, I'm sorry, I just don't see it with him. So do you get a weapon for Drake May and say, yeah, okay, Kayshon Boudet's been good? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go with a wide receiver here. I'm going to take KC Concepcion out of Texas A&M. Had a really solid year this year, just about 900 yards on about 60 catches, 9 touchdowns, averaging 15.5 yards per catch. That's pretty solid. Yeah, Kayshon Boutte has been nice, and Mac Hollins has been fun. I still don't see a weapon that scares you, which is crazy that they're playing as well as they are when they don't have that, but that's just the way it is. Seattle on the clock here, still needing some interior offensive linemen. Could also use another corner, depending on what ends up happening with Reek Wool in this offseason. I'm still a fan of Colton Hood. I don't know why people have soured on him so much. He's got excellent size, and he's young. He's only a redshirt sophomore, so he's going to continue to get better. And in that defense, I think he could be a steal, and I think he could produce right away. So I'm going to go get and give them Colton Hood. Rams on the clock here at 31 after taking Mansour Delane at pick number 10 here. Still has a need as a quarterback. Now, do you reach a little bit and take someone who has fallen like a Ty Simpson? What do we think about Ty Simpson in that offense? He's a little bit older. He's almost 23, so he'll be pushing 23 come the season time. Now, who was the other quarterback I liked for them? Am I tripping? Is Brennan Sorsby not on here? Brennan Sorsby is not on here. I wouldn't hate that. I wouldn't hate Brennan Sorsby for them. He's been very, very good. But I also do think that they might take a chance on someone like a Ty Simpson or even a Garrett Nussmeier, who has been bad this year, but last year, he's been hurt too for the last few weeks, but he threw for 4,000 yards and 29 touchdowns last year. He is 24 years old, though, so probably not him. I think you go Ty Simpson here, take a shot on a quarterback. You have 2 first-round picks. You've got to get your future quarterback. Rams fans, what do you guys think about Ty Simpson as a backup for Matt Stafford for a year or two before he becomes the guy? Could totally see something like that happening. And last but not least here, Denver Broncos at pick number 32. Could use tight end, could use a center, and could use a linebacker. I don't see any of those positions really being a fit here. I like Chris Bell a lot. Could see them going wide receiver and saying, yeah, Troy Franklin's been nice, and we like Cortland Sutton, obviously, as our number one guy. But behind Cortland Sutton, man, I just don't know if there's any true difference-making players on the offensive side of the ball. I could see him going with a weapon. I could. I don't see him going defense. Their defense is elite already as is. I'm not taking a tight end here, obviously, with no Sadiq available. There's not another tight end I'm thinking about taking. Yeah, I'm a big Chris Bell guy. I love the size, 6'2", 220. He's athletic. He's talented. He's going to be someone I think that tests surprisingly well and that is very good. And same with Elijah Surratt. I think he is also looking to play his way into borderline first-round consideration. I think Chris Bell and Elijah Surratt are going to be at like the Ladd McConkey and Keon Coleman range, where it's like, are these guys going to be last pick of the first round type of guys, or are they going to be early second round guys? I'm going to go with Chris Bell for the Broncos. I like the size. I like the talent. Boom. That's how we end this mock draft. Now that the season is over for my team and over for several teams, you guys can fully expect several mock drafts going forward, trying to get one out to you guys every single week. And it's going to change. It's going to be funny to look back on this in a couple of weeks and be like, wow, I can't believe I had that guy in the first round, or how did I not have this player in the first round? What was I thinking? Let me know what you guys think about the pick I made for your team, or picks depending on the team. I always want to know. I'm never interested in fighting with you guys. I genuinely want to know what you feel like your team needs and how certain players fit. That's how we all learn, is by having these conversations in the comments down below. So make sure you guys comment. Let me know what you all think. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you love the NFL draft just like we do, because the content is going to be coming fast and furious, baby. That's all I've got for you guys. We'll see you all in the next one.